everyone. I'm Mark Crampton, State Highways District Engineer for Frederick County, and I'm pleased to join our partners from both the City of Frederick and Frederick County in welcoming you to our dedication today. Thank you for being part of this ribbon cutting ceremony as we celebrate a project with wide-ranging benefits for this community, as well as the partnerships that made it possible. With us today, I'd like to recognize Congressman John Delaney, Maryland Transportation Secretary Jim Smith, newly elected County Executive Jan Gardner, City Mayor Randy McClement, City Alderwoman Kelly Russell, City Alderman Michael O'Connor, City Alderman Josh Boakey, Robin Summerfield here on behalf of Senator Ben Cardin, former County Commissioner Paul Smith, from Fort Detrick, Lieutenant Colonel Brian Bartholomew, also from the local Frederick area from the Frederick Area Committee on Transportation, Mr. Bob Smariga, its former president, and Mr. Zach Kirshner, the Department of Public Works Chief for the City of Frederick. First, it's my honor to introduce a leader who has helped to ensure that Maryland continues to invest in transportation dollars wisely in projects like this one to create jobs, improve safety, reduce congestion throughout our state. So without further ado, please welcome Secretary Jim Smith.
Oops. Thank you, Mark, and it's a pleasure to be here this morning. We're going to celebrate this Motter Avenue Bridge over US 15 here in beautiful Frederick. I want you to know I did see a few snow flurries coming up, though. Don't have to do that. It's a little early. You know, if you look up the word gridlock in the dictionary, I'm almost certain that you would see right next to it a picture of the old Motter Avenue Bridge over US 15 here in Frederick. I think it appears right next to the definition of gridlock, with 4 narrow travel lanes, limited ramp movements that constantly backed up traffic onto US 15, and even narrower sidewalks. The 57-year-old bridge certainly helped create some notorious traffic jams along this busy corridor. With more than 86,000 vehicles traveling through this area each day and an additional 15,000 expected by 2030, the time was definitely right to replace the bridge and unlock the gridlock for the citizens of Frederick. But NDOT could not have done it alone. Thanks to the strong support from the federal, county, and city partners, we were able to move this $21 million project forward together. This project will relieve congestion, improve access to businesses and major employers like Fort Detrick, and enhance the safety of motorists and pedestrians who walk along this busy roadway, many of whom are students from the Governor Thomas Johnson High School across the street. This is a team effort on a grand scale. Leaders from all levels of government working together to improve the quality of life of Frederick County citizens. And speaking of leadership, we wouldn't be here without the support and funding provided by the City of Frederick and Frederick County. Key funding that provided for a wider roadway with turn lanes, ADA compliant sidewalks, and signal and pedestrian upgrades. Thank you to the mayor, the aldermen, the county commissioners, and the incoming county council members. As Frederick County's first county executive, Jan Gardner, a person I know well and admire greatly, made it clear during her campaign that she wanted to create a community where citizens can drive across town on uncongested, safe roads. So I'm certain there will be more transportation improvement projects like this one moving forward under her leadership. Today's ribbon cutting also is made possible thanks to our federal partners. I'd like to thank Senators Mikulski and Cardin, Congressman Delaney, and all of Team Maryland for their leadership in ensuring that the federal funds are there when we need them for transportation projects like this. Projects that create jobs, improve traffic safety, and help support Maryland's growing economy. John, thank you for your continued leadership and innovative ideas surrounding infrastructure investments in the Congress. I just wish that they listened to you more. Federal funding was absolutely critical for this project. I'd also like to thank all the businesses, motorists, cyclists, and pedestrians who spent far too much time stuck in traffic for their patience. I want to thank them for their patience before and during the construction of this project. And I actually was out here last summer, and I know that it is a traffic challenge. We ask for your continued patience as we put the finishing touches on the roadway work over the next few weeks and return in the spring to complete the stormwater management and the landscaping. If a picture of the old Motter Avenue Bridge appears next to the definition of congestion, then I want someone to take a picture of all of us standing here together, because this is the definition of how you get things done. Thanks to everyone who played a role in making today possible.
Thank you, Secretary. I'd also like to recognize a couple of other distinguished guests that just walked up. City Alderwoman Donna Kazemchek, and also recently elected State Delegate Carol Krim. I'm now very pleased to welcome Congressman John Delaney. This project is part of our Bridge System Preservation Program, which relies on federal funding to address aging bridges before our problems can develop. So please join me now in welcoming the Congressman.
So it's great to be with everyone here on this nice toasty day in Frederick. But seriously, it's always a pleasure to be here with all the terrific elected officials who have gathered for this important milestone, the ribbon cutting for the new bridge, and the other concerned citizens of the area. When the Secretary mentioned gridlock, and he was about to refer to what I thought was the Congress when he talked about the kind of unchecked gridlock that's going on, and he pivoted to the bridge. But one of the areas that the Congress does still function is around making investments in critical infrastructure that help communities. And this is really a great example of that. And it's also an example of something that's really important to me, which is making sure we all work together for the common good of our citizens. Businesses, government, community groups, whatever the case may be, the more we work together towards common goals, the better outcomes we get for everyone. And this bridge was made possible because of a lot of collaboration. Obviously, the federal funding was a big, important part of it, but also there was funding from the city of Frederick, from the county, from the state, all coming together to make this possible. And so this is really something to celebrate. Not only the fact that we have a brand new bridge, and there's much less traffic, much less congestion, and it's much safer, but the fact that we all came together to make this happen. And as the Secretary mentioned, infrastructure is a top priority of mine. In fact, it's where I've spent the most time in the past Congress. And I think it's incredibly important for this country, because the thing we do when we invest in our infrastructure is we improve the lives of our citizens, we make their lives safer, we give them better access, we give them more time with their families because they're not caught in traffic and congestion. So it's really important for the lives of our citizens. It's really important for our businesses. Unless we have a world-class infrastructure in this country, we cannot compete, particularly in the world we're in today, where the level of competition is much greater than it's ever been. It puts people to work. A lot of jobs were created in building this bridge and in all the infrastructure projects we invest in. And it's a really good investment. If you think about where the federal government spends its money, it's one of the best investments we make as a nation. For every dollar we spend on infrastructure, we get about $2 of economic growth. So if you care about the citizens and the quality of their lives, we should be investing more in infrastructure. If you care about our competitiveness as a community, as a state, and as a country, we should be investing in infrastructure. If you want to get people to work and you want to make good investments, you should be really focused on infrastructure. So these are the reasons I care about it. I know all my colleagues, my other elected officials who I have the privilege of being with here today, care about the same thing. And it's just great to be here for the ribbon cutting of this important bridge to improve the lives of the community and the citizens. And I want to thank you all for having me, and God bless you.
Thank you, Congressman. I'm pleased also to recognize Senator Ronald Young, who's been able to join us. And when it comes to championing Frederick area transportation projects, we also owe our thanks to our county delegation in Annapolis. Senator Ronald Young has been a longtime leader and an advocate for Frederick, and we are pleased that he could join us today. So please welcome Senator Young.
Well, it's great to be here. I didn't know I was on the program, so I didn't come prepared for remarks. But hearing Congressman Delaney, just can't say how fortunate we are to have him in Congress. Nobody understands the needs for infrastructure, the needs for business and government to work together better than he does. So we're very, very lucky to have him there. Very happy to see this bridge completed, and it is a great example of the various levels of government working together. As the Congressman said, we need to invest in infrastructure. I took a lot of flack for voting for the gas tax, but from that, if you look around Frederick, you can see the projects that we're getting, including one real important one coming up at Monocacy Boulevard and Route 15. But look at what's happened here in recent years. I hear people say we don't get our share. Look back at the East Street extension and what that's done for the city. Look at the improvements along 70. The state has made a great deal of investment here. The county has partnered in a lot of that investment. The city certainly contributed, and I think it's something that we need very badly. I just mentioned last week, I haven't talked about it a lot, but when I became mayor in 1974, we were a dead, dying town, and the very first thing we did was invest in infrastructure. The parking garage had been talked about for 20 years. We built it. We buried the wires downtown. We made all kinds of investments on streets and roads with the private sector. We expanded the airport. I could go on and on and on. What it did was create the atmosphere for business. Government doesn't create jobs, business creates jobs, but they need the infrastructure to make it happen. And Frederick has prospered since then. Some people say thanks, some are sorry, but I think we have a great community and it's going to get even greater, and investing in infrastructure is real important. I hope that the Congressman's bill to bring companies back to this country and to use some of that money for infrastructure can continue to get the support it needs to get passed, and I hope Congress will move forward on a national gas tax, because that's really where it's most needed to work on our bridges and roads throughout the country. So it's a great day for Frederick. It certainly opens a bottleneck here. We need to keep seeing investments like this and keep moving forward. And thank you for having me.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senator, for your continued support of our projects. Another essential voice in all of our coordination efforts has been the county. And without further ado, I'd like to ask you to extend a warm welcome to the first county executive, Ms. Jan Gardner.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. And I do want to say the mayor was responsible for the weather, not the county. Just kidding, of course. I'm pleased to be here today to share in this celebration, the official opening of the Motter Avenue Bridge Replacement Project and all the associated improvements. And this project is about good government. It's a real-time example of a successful collaboration between all levels of government, municipal, county, state, and our federal partners. But most important, I think it involves the public. There was citizen input. There was certainly public input from our FACT group, which is the Frederick Area Committee for Transportation. How many of you here are from the FACT group? I think you should be acknowledged. This organization is unique to Frederick County, and they have advocated for transportation projects for at least 2 decades. So it's really been successful. And this is government at its best, providing a core service and improved transportation system to its citizens and businesses to save time, provide safety and uncongested roads, and to make sure businesses can move goods and services. Thousands of people drive through this intersection every day, and this area is traveled through for many reasons. There's a lot of businesses here, there's some residential communities who travel through here. Thousands of people come through here every day to make medical appointments on Thomas Johnson Drive. And it's also the route to Frederick Community College, and it's part of our BRAC plan. It supports transportation to another federal investment, which was the new gate, expanded gate on Opossum Town Drive. So it does all of those things. Frederick County government was pleased to have contributed money to advance this project. I do thank the former county commissioners for their commitment to that and acknowledge Commissioner Paul Smith for that support. These county funds came from developer contributions into our local transportation fund. And we created this fund about a dozen years ago to leverage state and federal dollars to help move needed transportation projects forward faster. And it has been a successful public-private partnership that has worked in the past and hopefully should continue to work into the future. Providing a safe and functional transportation system is one of the fundamental responsibilities of government. Not only did we replace the bridge that's behind us and widen the main line through this area, there were intersection improvements, a new walk route for the students to Thomas Johnson High School. All of my children went to Thomas Johnson High School, and I can tell you that students who had to walk across this bridge, there was no shoulder, and the sidewalk was about half the size of a normal sidewalk. It really was not a safe condition for our students. So incorporating safe routes to school was a great improvement. And I also have to say that it helped to address the backup of traffic on US 15 coming north to exit onto this roadway, because there was a backup onto the main line of US 15, and quite frankly I think that's one of the most dangerous situations we can have in our state highways across the state. I appreciate the longstanding and productive partnership the counties have with the State Highway Administration, particularly with Secretary Jim Smith and with our local district office. I appreciate the ongoing partnership with Mayor McClement and the City of Frederick, and I look forward to many additional projects to keep Frederick on the move. I want to thank the people who actually worked on this project, all the elected officials across multiple boards who supported this project, and the citizens and business who participate in it. This is a great example of good government serving people and business for the betterment of our community. Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you, County Executive Gardner, and we look forward to continuing to work with you and the other county staff. The improvements that we celebrate today would not have been possible without the City of Frederick's investment towards this project. Please welcome now the man who leads that effort in the City of Frederick, Mayor Randy McClement.
Thanks, Mark. One of the reasons we picked a day in the snow was we're going to try out that option you put on there for the heaters on the bridge, right? But we didn't choose that option, sorry. This is a great day. As you can see, the representation of all parts of government that were involved in here are great. Thank Congressman for coming. Thanks, Secretary. So we got Congressman, Secretary, Senator, Executive Assistant, local state, highway. This is great. This is a great partnership. Our elected officials also want to recognize representatives from Fort Detrick too, because this is an important road that helps one of the largest employers in the city of Frederick. It's going to get us down to the new Leyland Gate in a lot easier fashion. We've all talked about the importance of this and the collaboration, and I can't say any more than what has already been said. What I want to bring it down to is the collaboration that happened between local state highway and our city, especially Zach Kirshner, our now deputy director or director of public works, at the time was deputy director of engineering. This could have been a little different project. State wanted to do the bridge, we were all behind it. We knew that this intersection at TJ Drive and Motter was probably one of the worst intersections in the city. If we had waited and tried to figure out a time to do it later, there would have been construction of the bridge that would have caused businesses and citizens to be mad. And then we would have finished that and gone into the next phase. The coordination between the two departments to make this happen all at one time was, I think, very, very important. The businesses were very happy, the citizens were happy that they knew it was a multi-year project, but at the end, we have what we have today. A great way of transporting our citizens to and fro different parts of our city without elongated construction problems that would go on with that. I also want to say that the businesses here, while some were a little upset about some of the turns we made, overall, it's been great response to this. We even have local businesses down here that you can see joining together. A pass-through was created between the brown building over there in the corner and the gray building over here that never was before, so that it would make easier ingress-egress between the two facilities, because we knew there was going to be lessened ingress-egress off of this road. So there was cooperation all over the place. That's what makes this project great. The cooperation from everybody here, from the higher levels, all the way down to the citizens, and we appreciate it. I'm not going to stand out here and talk because it's really, really cold. So thank you all very much for coming out.
Thank you, Mayor, for your continued cooperation. Of course, we could not celebrate this beautiful new bridge without recognizing some of the people who worked so hard for the past several years to bring it into existence. I'd like to publicly acknowledge Mr. John Nair, State Highways Design Project Manager, who unfortunately isn't able to join us today for this celebration. I'd also like to recognize Mr. David James, our State Highway Project Engineer for Construction. Dave, thank you for your leadership on the project. Our prime contractor for this project has been Kibler Construction out of Finksburg, and represented today by Mr. Victor Rogers. And certainly we'd like to thank our host for the event, the American Legion Francis Scott Key Post number 11, for lending us their facilities. Again, I thank you all for coming. I'm sorry it was a little chilly. So I'd like to invite our partners on the project team to come over here and let's do the ribbon cutting so we can officially open the bridge.
That should be the Congressman.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jan? Absolutely. City Alderman, come on up. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it takes two people on that.
I only have two left. You guys got one there. I'm all out.
Anyone else need scissors?